CRISTOBAL has done nothing but go ahead since running a beautiful second to Sunlight in the Magic Night Stakes a few weeks ago. She had a little lung burner in a barrier trial last week at Rose Hill, and she's come out of that trial bouncing and on her toes. I think that against the fillies on Saturday, of course it's a really good test to see whether CRISTOBAL is going to continue to go ahead, but she just looks outstanding at the moment, and I think if she sort of finds the runs that she needs, then she can certainly run very well against these fillies under the set weights and penalties conditions. GONGS has had quite a few weeks between runs, coming out of probably one of the better form races in the Riesling Stakes, out of the two-year-old races in the lead up to the Slipper going into this event. She looks like she's used that time to continue to strengthen up and feel even better within herself. And arriving here on the fresh side with the fitness of 2 runs under her belt already, this preparation should see GONGS showing some of her best work this whole campaign. That would be satisfying to see, because the PERCY SYKES is gaining traction as a stronger race every year, and if she can acquit herself well here, then we would have some promise about her being a very good spring 3-year-old for us next time in. ISAURIAN will step up to 1400 metres here for the first time in the South Pacific handicap, and we feel like he's going to be beautifully suited in a race like this. The colt was impressive last time, finishing second to the in-form filly I Am Excited, and I think we saw some of his quality there on display that day. And if he can continue to go ahead the way he has been these past few starts, then this is the sort of race where he can really make a bit of a mark for himself this carnival, as an improving 3-year-old from our stable, and he's one of our more interesting runners on the day. VIRIDINE came out of the Group 1 Galaxy handicap in good shape, but for us he just looks that little bit better going into the ARROWFIELD Stud Stakes at set weights against 3-year-olds this weekend. It's a strong test for VIRIDINE. This is the time where we really want to see the best of our colt, and if he can do that here, then I think in a race that continues to go up in everybody's estimations, and that might one day be a Group 1, I think that in the Royal Sovereign on Saturday, that VIRIDINE can really be showing us one of his biggest performances, and you know, during the championships, there's no greater time for him to put himself on show quite like that. ALIZEE drops back to the COOLMORE Legacy Stakes over 1600 metres here this weekend, and the filly is just showing me everything that I needed to see from her coming out of the Vinery Stakes, where she just found the distance too far. She looked really strong and fit, and looks like to me she's ready to peak 5th up now. So I feel like her best performance of her whole preparation is definitely capable of being the run that she produces this Saturday. She's going to need it coming up against a lot of these mares that are not only just in good form, but they're all right around the mark, and there's not enough between them to really be confident in splitting them. Hopefully ALIZEE is the 3-year-old filly coming along on the scene to sprint by them under weight for age conditions. I think she'll be looking the best she has all preparation this weekend. FRAGONARD won't be as well placed as our other couple of mares in this race under the set weights and penalties conditions, but nevertheless, after missing the Birthday Card Stakes with a small setback, she looks like she's set to go, and we just really need to see her get a run under her belt going forward into the Scone and Hawkesbury Carnivals. So I think we should be looking for her to run well, and it wouldn't completely shock me if she was able to run a cheeky race despite being well out of the ratings here for a race like this. Jasoni's running first up in the Group 2 Sapphire Stakes here over 1200 metres and comes into this race looking really strong within herself and I think ready to run a very, very good race. The mare has been a little luckless in her past couple. One excellent run in Victoria that we had to rue what might have been had she had a better chance in transit and you know, never on the track on a railless track up north last start. Nevertheless, she's done well with the break, and I think that this is a really solid test for Jasoni to come back into first up. But if she can run a very big race here, then it looks like she's in for a very good preparation, I would say. RAIMENT comes into the Group 2 Sapphire Stakes from an unplaced effort in the COOLMORE, where we didn't feel like she completely ran the distance right out. Back to 1200 metres here, and at Randwick, we'll see her better placed than that. But the query with her is whether or not she just is going to need a little bit more juice in the ground to be at her most effective. Rheingau was beaten last time in a maiden, but only narrowly, and I think this is the sort of race where up to the 1600 metres for the first time against 2-year-olds that he can really assert his stamina on a race like this. For what he might lack in brilliance and class, I think he does have the sort of physique and the sort of pedigree that will see him appreciate getting out over that staying journey for a 2-year-old. And if he can just be stronger than his opposition, then I think that their brilliance won't count for quite as much. But it would have to be that sort of race because he's on the rise, but he's probably going to lack a turn of foot against some of these horses on the weekend. We've been very pleased with the progress that he's made, and he's been looking fitter and fitter with each run. And with the preparation under his belt from last year, he also has a significant advantage of maturity going in. And we'd love to see him put that on show and let that come to the fore in a race like the Fernhill Handicap on Saturday, because it can springboard a horse on to much better things as a spring 3-year-old.